April 14th, Lincoln woke up in a great mood, feeling probably more cheerful than he'd felt ever in his life.
The Union soldiers on the other side until more Union soldiers showed up behind them, and the slaughter over here was just terrible.
Uncovering a photograph from the Civil War, captured in full color at a time when such technology was practically unheard of, is an amazing feat. This extraordinary image doesn't just challenge what we know about Civil War photography. It reveals a hidden figure whose identity has been deliberately erased from history. What if this forgotten photo holds clues to a secret presidential network, a covert mission, and a chilling warning stitched into a uniform? The story behind this photo could rewrite America's historical narrative and expose truths kept in shadow for over a century. The impossible color photograph. The discovery of a full-color photograph dated 1865 immediately challenges everything we think we know about Civil War photography. At that time, the closest technology produced only black and white images on fragile glass plates. Color photography was not invented until many decades later, making this picture seemingly impossible. Yet here it was, a vivid, lifelike image showing Abraham Lincoln standing among Union officers in striking natural hues. The deep blue of the uniforms, the earthy browns of worn boots, and even the subtle lighting on Lincoln's coat defied all historical expectations. Experts who first examined the image were stunned. George Kramer, a renowned Civil War photography authority, initially doubted its authenticity. But after extensive analysis, Kramer whispered that it was not fake. Scientific tests revealed the colors were embedded directly into the photographic emulsion, not painted or tinted afterward. Organic dyes from beetroot and indigo were found within the image, materials known in the 19th century, but never before seen in photography. The chemical process suggested a technology far ahead of its time, resembling something like Kodachrome, which would not be invented for another 50 years. This photograph posed more questions than answers. How could such a technique have existed quietly during the war, with no earlier documentation? Was this a unique experiment, or had it been deliberately hidden? The image seemed to have survived intact for over a century, defying the expected fading and deterioration. Its vivid condition, combined with its historical significance, made it clear this was no ordinary photo and certainly no forgery. Beyond the color, something else immediately caught attention: a figure standing between Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses Grant. Unlike the generals flanking them, this man wore no insignia or polished saber. His plain, unadorned uniform and steady gaze set him apart in a way that was subtle but impossible to ignore. The officers around him appeared formal and stiff, but this man's stance suggested purpose beyond ceremony. His presence raised an eerie sense of deliberate inclusion, as if his role was silent but vital. Despite appearing unremarkable at first glance, the figure's face struck a personal chord with the woman who found the photo in a dusty attic. Claire Donovan recognized him instantly as her great-great-grandfather, William Donovan. This family connection sparked the beginning of a mystery that would unfold into something much darker and more complicated than a simple photographic anomaly. Identifying this man in a picture no one thought could exist added layers of personal and historical intrigue. The extraordinary nature of the photograph invited scrutiny on many levels, drawing in experts from forensic imaging to chemistry. It became clear that this image was not a straightforward artifact, but a coded piece of history, one carrying secrets that had been buried or erased for over 100 years. The impossibility of the color and the enigmatic figure together suggested a story waiting to be uncovered, one that challenged accepted narratives and hinted at hidden truths. Yet the question remained: why had this photograph been lost to time, hidden in a forgotten photo album rather than celebrated in history books? What had been so dangerous or secretive about this image and the man at its center that someone had worked to suppress it? The answers, as it would soon become clear, pointed toward a fragile balance of trust, power, and hidden missions during the Civil War's final moments. What began as a simple discovery of a rare colored photograph was about to reveal a forgotten chapter of American history, one that questioned not only the technology of the era, but also the people history chose to remember or forget. This mysterious figure in the photo would soon lead Claire Donovan into a labyrinth of family secrets and historical contradictions that no official record seemed willing to explain. Discovery and family connection. It all started in the unlikeliest of places, a dusty attic in an old family home. Claire Donovan, hoping to rescue a few antiques, stumbled upon a leather trunk packed with memories, including a fragile photo album. The album was typical in many ways, filled with yellowed portraits common to the late 19th century, but one image near the end defied all expectations. There stood Abraham Lincoln, surrounded by Union officers, but this image was in color, shockingly vivid and unmistakably real. The photo became more impressive because William Donovan appeared, who Claire recognized as her ancestor. Donovan looked different from Civil War hero photographs because he wore neither rank badges nor military medals nor sabers. His calm yet intense behavior showed that he had a goal which he pursued outside of his role. As a foreign observer, the appearance of his face in a historically important scene made me lose my ability to control my thoughts. The military records search conducted by Claire and the experts discovered that William Donovan served as a medic for the 104th New York Infantry, where he had been declared missing in action since April 6, 1865. The combat situation created a conflict between the photograph and its date, which showed that it had been taken shortly after April 9th, when Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered at Appomattox Courthouse. The historical record shows that Donovan stood beside Lincoln during the war's final day. The family history recounted Donovan's war departure, which turned into his permanent disappearance from the world, resulting in only secret military information and peaceful conversations about his whereabouts. The visual proof now at hand shows that the public rumors which circulated about him and the military records which documented his existence are untrue. The evidence showed that Donovan had vanished through a process that required his complete removal from public awareness. The existence of a fragile letter that passed through family lineage became a vital link to the family mystery. The letter contained an explicit warning which William Donovan had written: "If you ever find the photograph with the chair, burn it. It was never meant to be kept." The statement raised immediate warning signs. Donovan requested that his relatives destroy the photograph that connected him to one of America's most historic events. The image itself held more than just a family secret. It seemed to carry a burden of knowledge or mission Donovan was meant to hide. The empty chair, which appeared next to Lincoln in the photograph, functioned as a dual-purpose element that required proper timing for its meaning to be revealed. For Claire, every detail pointed to a hidden story far larger than a missing or forgotten ancestor. Claire commenced her investigation to discover the truth about her discovery, which would lead her to examine Civil War history buried in the deepest historical records. The investigation extended beyond her family history because it revealed a larger pattern of factual distortion that affected multiple records. The personal and historical collided in that single photograph, transforming a private family mystery into a profound inquiry about what history might be willing to forget. The contradictions between family evidence and official records hinted at a deeper, more purposeful deletion, one that called for a closer look into the discrepancies that continue to baffle historians today. Historical records versus photographic evidence. Military archives listed William Donovan as missing in action on April 6, 1865, 3 days before Lee's surrender at Appomattox. According to these official documents, Donovan simply vanished. Yet the photograph placed him alive and well at the heart of the war's decisive moment alongside Lincoln and Grant, casting doubt on the integrity of the records. This glaring inconsistency prompted suspicion that Donovan's disappearance had been orchestrated. Experts found no trace of Donovan in officer rosters or aide listings, deepening the anomaly. This absence was not a mere oversight. Soldiers and medics who went missing were documented meticulously, especially during such a critical phase of the war. The fact that Donovan was erased from so many official accounts suggested a deliberate act. Someone, it seemed, wanted to ensure he left no paper trail. The involvement of Claire Donovan alongside experts like Professor George Kramer led to the discovery of a memo hidden in the War Department files. A cryptic note read, "WD moved a shadow post per Al's request, not to be logged." The initials WD matched William Donovan, and Al was a known informal nickname for President Lincoln used in private memos. This suggested that Donovan had been reassigned covertly by Lincoln himself to a unit that was never officially recorded. If authentic, this document redefines Donovan's narrative from lost soldier to silent operative working in the shadows. It implies the existence of a secret presidential network functioning beyond the knowledge of generals and public records. Such a network would operate with a high level of discretion, guarding information and protecting the president outside formal military hierarchies. Further evidence came from a preserved field journal describing temporary escorts assigned for sensitive movement between command zones, chosen not for rank or fame, but for discretion. These men left no promotions or honors on paper, operating in complete secrecy. William Donovan fit this description perfectly, hinting at a more complex role than medic, one tied to intelligence, security, and presidential protection. The discovery of a small stitched patch on Donovan's uniform bearing the letters PEC for Presidential Escort Committee confirmed this hidden role. No known Civil War history previously acknowledged such a unit. This patch revealed that Donovan's place beside Lincoln and Grant was no accident. He had been deliberately positioned there as part of a secretive team entrusted with guarding the president. This clash between historical records and photographic proof exposed how much of history may be shaped not only by facts, but also by what some have tried to hide. This hidden network and Donovan's erased identity led the investigation toward even darker revelations. Messages sewn into his uniform that would foretell events no one was meant to know. Lincoln's secret protective network. As layers of the mystery peeled back, evidence pointed toward something extraordinary. A covert network operating under President Lincoln's direct command. This was not a formal military unit, but a small, selective group working in the shadows, tasked with protecting the president beyond the eyes of generals or politicians. Their existence was virtually invisible to history and left no official records, which explained why men like William Donovan appeared erased from formal rosters. Lincoln's trust in this silent team reflected a delicate balance of power and secrecy during the war's final weeks. The secretive group gained credibility when forensic imaging expert Elsa discovered a small detail on Donovan's uniform that proved to be crucial evidence. The collar patch contained stitched letters that formed the abbreviation PEC, which stood for Presidential Escort Committee. The hidden organization had been removed from all school textbooks except for the secret diaries and coded notes, which belonged to Lincoln's closest advisors. The patch confirmed Donovan's role in the Secret Service team that protected the president with special security measures. The men who held this title were chosen because of their ability to maintain secrecy and their dedication to their duties as first responders. The field journal documents revealed secret escort missions that required the movement of sensitive personnel between military zones using personnel who were not part of the regular command structure. The employees executed their tasks while remaining anonymous because their roles prevented them from advancing in the organization. Donovan needed to join the committee because his missing public records demonstrated official work requirements. The network operated in silence, which permitted Lincoln to oversee potential dangers while conducting operations that remained hidden from his political opponents and military personnel. Their mission required them to protect the president through their duties of observing and guarding while reporting information directly to him. Donovan's presence at Appomattox with Lincoln and Grant stands as evidence that he occupied a major role because the military had declared him missing only days before. The empty wooden chair within the famous photograph took on new symbolism as well. The object transforms into a scientific instrument, which scientists use it to track mysterious energy that exists between known physical entities. The photograph itself, once thought unremarkable aside from its impossible color, revealed a secret history embedded in its details, woven into the very fabric of that moment. For Claire Donovan, the process of discovering this segment of the narrative brought her both excitement and difficulty. Her great-great-grandfather served as more than a battle medic because he functioned as a crucial element of a concealed presidential security system. As the shadows around Donovan's hidden role grew darker, so did the messages stitched into his uniform, warnings that seemed to foreshadow a tragedy no one was meant to foresee. Hidden messages and assassination foreshadowing. The photograph's deeper secrets revealed themselves when Elsa adjusted the spectral scanners one more time, highlighting something nearly invisible, an extra line of stitching beneath Donovan's lapel. This was neither a repair nor ornamentation, but deliberate embroidery, bearing a cryptic and chilling message: "Target verified. Stand until April 14th." The room fell silent as the weight of those words settled in. April 14th, 1865, was the fatal night Abraham Lincoln was assassinated at Ford's Theater. This phrase altered the entire context of Donovan's role. The language, "target verified," read like, "Stand until April 14th." The room fell silent as the weight of those words settled in. April 14th, 1865, was the fatal night Abraham Lincoln was assassinated at Ford's Theater. This phrase altered the entire context of Donovan's role. The language, "target verified," read like an intelligence code confirming Lincoln as a marked individual. The order to stand until a specific date suggested a time-sensitive assignment, as if Donovan was instructed to watch, protect, or perhaps intervene during a critical window. This was military and intelligence talk, far removed from ordinary battlefield orders, implying knowledge of a threat no one else seemed to anticipate openly. For Claire, the implications were staggering. Her ancestor was not simply missing in the chaos of war. He was part of a front line against a conspiracy close to the very heart of power. The narrow gap between the photograph's date of April 9th and Lincoln's assassination 5 days later had suddenly become more than just historical context. It was a countdown to catastrophe that Donovan was apparently ordered to guard against. Questions multiplied. Did Donovan attempt to prevent the assassination and fail? Was he intercepted or silenced before he could act? Or, more chillingly, was his removal from records and history part of a cover-up to protect those involved or to bury inconvenient truths? The absence of records now felt like a deliberate erasure designed to obscure the full story of Lincoln's final days. Experts in the room debated the message's meaning. The paper conservator argued target verified meant Lincoln had been officially identified as a danger that required special surveillance. Elsa added that stand until implied a mission with a strict time limit, as if Donovan was counting down to an event he could neither stop nor delay. This wasn't mere chance, but evidence of careful planning behind closed doors. These sewn words, barely visible and nearly forgotten, served as a reminder that behind the grand narratives of history are hidden stories written in the smallest and most secretive details. Stories that, once uncovered, have the power to change how we understand the past. Legacy of silence and historical impact. The remarkable story of William Donovan reminds us that history is often shaped as much by what is hidden as by what is recorded. Donovan's disappearance from official records, his erased role in the events surrounding Lincoln's assassination, and the covert network he belonged to reveal how truths can be deliberately veiled. His story challenges the notion that history is fixed, showing instead that it is layered, fluid, and sometimes manipulated by those in power. Forgotten heroes like Donovan often carry burdens beyond recognition, but their contributions remain essential to the larger picture. This investigation sheds light on how ordinary individuals played extraordinary roles behind the scenes of monumental historical moments. Donovan was neither a general nor a famous figure, but held a quiet, critical responsibility that intersected directly with the fate of a nation. His mission demanded invisibility, making him a silent guardian whose sacrifices were hidden by design. The careful concealment of such roles raises important questions about how many other stories remain locked away, waiting for discovery. The photographs, letters, and documents uncovered offer more than just facts. They provide insight into the shadow struggles that have shaped history's outcomes. The presence of a secret presidential escort committee, the warning stitched into a uniform, and the impossible colored photograph collectively reveal a world of trust and secrecy where loyalty to the president meant living in the shadows. These findings invite us to reconsider history not as a simple record, but as a living narrative influenced by unseen forces. For families like Claire Donovan's, these revelations transform personal heritage into a legacy with national significance. Rediscovering William Donovan meant reclaiming a lost chapter of history, honoring a man removed from the pages of textbooks but never from the truth. It underscores the power of preservation and the courage to ask difficult questions. Sometimes the past requires persistence and curiosity to reveal its deepest secrets. This story also serves as a reminder of the fragility of historical memory. When documents are lost, destroyed, or deliberately hidden, entire threads of our collective past can unravel. The erasure of Donovan from records was no accident, but a choice made to protect certain narratives or individuals. Recognizing this helps us remain vigilant, encouraging a broader and more inclusive approach to studying history. The discovery of this extraordinary photograph and the story of William Donovan remind us that history is filled with hidden layers waiting to be uncovered. Sometimes, one image and one person's curiosity can change everything we think we know. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please like and subscribe for more explorations into the mysteries of our past. Thanks for watching.